Hey everyone, welcome down to another Swing Quest video, and today we are going to be looking at the irons and how you can strike them better, how you can get that pure ball first and turf contact with the ball fizzing down towards the green. So we're going to be looking about how you can strike that ball first and the turf. This is all going to be about impact drills, and to better elucidate these points, I've teamed up with our good friends at Hack Motion. Now, if you want more information on Hack Motion, go down into the description below. But they've been a great partner of the channel for a number of years now, and it is an amazing device if you want to better understand what is happening with the wrists and with the club face at impact, which of course is going to play a crucial role in what we're talking about in this video. So first of all, ball striking with the irons. What do we want to see, and what are some of those common faults that you guys might be suffering with at home? Well, first of all, we want to be seeing the ball struck and then the turf. So it's a downward angle of attack. It is the club descending into the point of impact. Now, this doesn't have to be by an excessive amount. If we're talking about degrees of angle of attack downwards, 4 to 6 degrees down is absolutely fine if you want to get that compression. But we're not going to get into the numbers on a launch monitor today. We are going to be looking at the Hack Motion and what's happening with the wrists, but just bear in mind, we want the ball to be struck first and then the turf with the iron. Now, this is not dependent on loft. You want to be striking slightly down with the long irons and the short irons. The only difference is it's easier to strike down with the shorter clubs compared to the longer. Now, that is important because often when people struggle striking their irons, it's with the longer clubs, and that is because they have less loft. Let me put it this way. Golf is a sport where you have the ball on the ground and you're trying to get it up into the air. Now, the most common fault that we see with golfers is as they try and hit the ball in the air, the hands are stalled, the club overtakes, and it moves into this scooping motion. Or the golfer will sit on their back foot and try and help the ball up into the air. Now, this is perfectly natural because the ball is on the ground. It's one of the many reasons why golf doesn't make any sense, and it's incredibly frustrating. And that leaning back and that scooping of the ball up into the air, it normally leads to one of two results. Either you're going to catch the ball very cleanly, you're going to thin it, you're going to top it, or if your club bottoms out too soon, you might even catch the ground before the ball. Now, if you're watching this video, I presume that you're wanting to improve, and these videos will help you do that. However, I also recommend going to see an instructor if you can. If you're at a driving range and you want to see if you're leaning back and you're scooping, if you're catching the ball clean and you're not sure why, just set up your phone like this, straight in front of you. Try and do it on a slow motion setting if possible. Now, you want the camera pretty much facing the middle of your body. If we can keep it about chest to waist high, even better. But what you're looking for is if you approach impact and your weight is shifting onto your back foot, the club head is overtaking the hands like so. This is a classical flip action. And this is where we need to start doing the drills to help improve strike. Now, I've popped on my Hack Motion and I'm going to be talking through some drills that you can use with the sensor as it starts to sing to me. However, you can also take all these drills and you can use them in isolation. So what are some of the things that we're looking for if we don't want to cast, if we don't want to scoop, if we want to strike our irons pure? Well, if you get yourself set up to the ball, and what we want to be doing here is as we take the club back, you'll notice that the shaft reaches parallel and then the wrists begin to hinge. Now, it's at this point where the club is pointing pretty much at the sky, the left arm is extended pretty straight, and I form this L shape in between my lead forearm and the shaft. Now, this is a full wrist hinge. From this position, I can just turn the upper body to the top, and this is a full backswing. But it's this angle that we're really interested in. As you come down into impact, this angle is something that you want to try and maintain. Now, this is a bit of an exaggeration where I've swung up to the top, I have a full wrist hinge, and I'm moving down into impact, and I'm feeling like my lead arm is pointing at the ball and the shaft is parallel to the ground. Now, in reality, you won't quite get to this position, but it's a sensation that's worth having. For the drill, using the Hack Motion, I'm going to go through that slow motion takeaway. Shaft reaches parallel. I'm going to hinge the wrists, and I'm going to maintain this angle as my left arm points down towards the ball and I try and impact the ground. Like so.
It's so satisfying, isn't it?
So what I'm doing here is I'm prepping my impact position with my wrists and then delivering through the point of impact. However, there is something which not many people take into account, which you really need to understand, and that is about shallowing in the downswing. So this angle, which is created between the lead arm and the shaft, is 90 degrees. From the front, it's all pretty self-explanatory, but as you start to view the golf swing from behind or in 3D, if I was just to maintain this and I was just to move down like this, this is going to be an exceptionally steep downswing position. And although I won't be leaning back, I am going to be getting so steep onto the golf ball that I might take potentially the biggest divot in the history of our fair game. Now this is important because I have had lessons come in hitting down on the ball, and still fatting, thinning, and scooping at the ball. The reason for this is if you come into an impact position and you're hitting down to the extent where you simply won't be able to get the ball up in the air, subconsciously you will react. If you're coming in steep, you will start to back up to try and help the golf ball into the air. And the key deciding factor in this is, yes, we want these angles, but as you start your downswing, if you can get the left arm and the shaft into a shallow position, this is going to ensure that you're not coming too steep down on the ball. Now, a shallow position is fairly simple. Now, a shallow position, I'm going to go through the same routine, just move it up to the top. This left arm, I'm going to allow it to fall down the front of my body, and you can see here how the shaft, rather than moving in this direction, has just led down a little bit behind me. Now, from here, you can turn onto the golf ball, maintain these angles, hit the ball first, and then the turf. It's important because you can spend hours hit down, trying to really smash the ball into the ground, but that might not be effective because you need the club to be moving on a slightly shallow, neutral type of plane rather than super steep. So the drill that I'm going to use here, I'm going to take it back halfway. I'm using an 8-iron here, so I would recommend using a higher lofted club to begin with, but you can transition this onto the longer irons as well. Swing it to this halfway position. I'm going to feel just a little shallow in the downswing, and then I'm going to turn onto the ball, getting the lead arm pointing down at impact and moving through. Now, if you want to, you can add a little pause in here, so you can assess the backswing, make sure that you've got the right position, then shallow and turn. And if you're at the range and you're using this for block practice, try and do about a 4-to-1 ratio. So you can do 4 practice swings, either with the ball or just brushing the ground after, and then try and move it into a full swing. So exactly the same setup, exactly the same feelings, but just trying and execute. So I just want to say a huge thank you to HackMotion for partnering with the channel, and make sure you get down into that description and check them out. Honestly, it is a fantastic device that can help you strike the ball better. There is no doubt about that. If you are still struggling a little bit with your irons and you want more information on how you can hit the ball better, check out these SwingQuest videos here.